Hi everyone and welcome back to RetroB8. In today's episode I'm going to be showing you 10 of my favourite big box Amiga games that I have managed to collect over the last few years. All of these games have a special nostalgic place in my heart. That's the only reason I'm buying them. I'm definitely not starting any sort of Amiga collection. Honest. Anyway, without further ado, let's check out these games. So as I was saying before the credits, these are 10 of my favourite games from back in the day when I used to have my Amiga 1200. These are in no particular order, although I have left the two best ones, or my favourite ones, out of this pile of 10 to the end. So, we're going to start off with, of course, number 10, and this is an absolute classic on the Amiga. I'm pretty sure most people will have played this game. For me, I'm not 100% sure, but I think this game started on the Amiga. But there's a lot of games that I thought started on the Amiga, and it turns out, in fact, they were on the Atari ST first. So, I could be wrong, let me know in the comments, but also let me know if you played this and if you enjoyed it. We're going to start off, guys, with, of course, Lemmings. Now, I remember seeing the intro to this on my friend's Amiga, on his Amiga 500, and I was absolutely blown away. I wasn't particularly good at this game, I'm not going to lie. But I've had so many hours and hours of fun playing this game. It's a great game that you can just lose yourself in and you can just play away, let the outside world do what it needs to do while you try and save as many lemmings as possible. Now, the one I've picked up, as you can see, it's not a bad, it's not in bad condition. There's a few different releases of this game. Yeah, this is just your normal PAL version. But yeah, this is voted Game of the Year by Infomag USA, Amiga World USA, and European Game of the Year. So yeah, this was an absolute classic, and I would probably class this as one of the games that you should maybe try. If you haven't, if you're one of the few people that haven't played this game, definitely give it a go. There's been quite a few kind of reincarnations, and you know, with a little bit of changes here and there. But I do believe a lot of games maybe wouldn't have existed if it wasn't for this one. Lemmings on the Amiga, class game. And then we move on to a game that isn't so great. The original game was it was groundbreaking. I used to play the original so much, and I wanted to like the sequel so badly. It's this one. Well, I mean, with an introduction like that, you're going to think it's Chaos Engine 2, but it's not. It's Canon Fodder 2. Now, a lot of people don't get on with this game, and I can really understand why. It's very different from the original, and well, although it's more the setting. The setting of the second game is definitely what lets it down. Gameplay wise, it is very similar. It gets absolutely mental chaotic towards the end. I think, got maybe 60 to 70% of the way through this game, but I do find it extremely hard. Yeah, I don't know what happened with the sequel. I don't know whether the guys who done the original game had nothing to do with the sequel, but for me, the first one is just immeasurably better. Yeah, it's just so much more fun. But as I say, I do have nostalgia for this because I did play it still quite a lot back in the 90s, and I really wanted to like this game. But as I say, when you compare it to the original, unfortunately, this is a very distant second. However, an original came up at the right price on Facebook, so yeah, I couldn't let that one get away. Now, one of my favourite genre of games is definitely the point-and-click adventure game, especially on the Amiga. For me, I mean, there was, like, you know, a few on the Commodore 64, but I think the Amiga just really stepped it up. This was one of the ones I was lucky enough to more watch my friends play this game. It was a game with a lot of these games, the games I always wanted, but obviously I could never afford these as a kid. I used to have mostly copied games. Probably 95% of them were copied games, and yeah, it's not something to be proud of really, but I used to enjoy playing the games, and I didn't really think about piracy or anything like that, you know, when I was a kid. But I'm really enjoying now picking up the games that I enjoyed, and this one was just, I'm just so happy to own this, guys. Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis. The box itself, I absolutely adore the artwork on this. I really do. Yes, this is the Kicks version, but look at the state of the box and everything. I'm so happy with the condition. This is just a really awesome game. Graphic adventure. It's LucasArts, and yeah, I mean, I used to love Indiana Jones as a kid. It was one of the first movies that I ever went to see with my dad. He took me to see, oh no, which one was it? Was the Temple of Doom. I'm pretty sure it was the Temple of Doom. Yeah, so anything with Indiana Jones on, I used to be hugely into that when I was a kid. And also my son is now. He loves watching Indiana Jones, and we play it on the Lego games, which is it's a great two-player game. If you're looking for a two-player game to play with your kids, definitely go down the Lego route. Obviously depending on the age, but I must admit, I mean, well, I'm 43 and I really enjoy playing them. But yeah, it's really good interactive with your kids. Next is to a completely different sort of game, although it is mouse orientated. And my friend Neil used to play this so much, and to be honest, at first I was never massively into this game, but I saw him play it that much, and he used to always have it on that I did get a copy of him, and that was UFO. Now, UFO Enemy Unknown, you're kind of like a world defense against an invasion of UFOs. It's like a turn-based point and click sort of action fighting game. You can build up your forces, you can like investigate different crash sites, you can bring back alien artifacts, and this advances your technology to fight against the aliens. I've never completed this game, but I really would love to. But again, this is a game, obviously with microprocessor, tends to be quite a lot of the time that you have to invest such a massive amount of time into these games. That's probably one that I'm just never going to be up there. Well, maybe when I retire, maybe when the kids have all left home. But I mean, yeah, if we think that 3.5-inch floppy disks are in bad state now, then what's that going to be in 20 years' time? Even worse. Getting on to a different genre again altogether. This is a bit of a Marmite game. Some people really like this game, me included, and some people don't. Now, I remember speaking about this game on a stream, and I think it was Big Game Al. He mentioned that, I can't remember what system it's on. Was it the Mega Drive or the SNES? It was released on a few different systems, and I think this game was like £700 or £800 for a copy. Luckily enough, on the Amiga, it's nowhere near that. But the racing game is Power Drive. Now, I really enjoyed this game, but then I really enjoy, here we go, Skid Marks, or Super Skid Marks. What a name for a game that is. But Power Drive was just, it had the rally element, you know, like the drifting around corners, and I just really love this racing game. Yes, it's not my favourite racing game on the Amiga, and I'm sure eventually we will come to that game. But as far as like 3D kind of top-down view games go, this was my favourite racing game of that type of genre on the Amiga. But as I said, there was another couple that come pretty close, but I'm sure we'll come to them games soon. Now, another game, quite a big influence on me back in the day was my best friend Neil, and a lot of the games that he played, like, you know, I ended up getting into, and this one was it's like a 3D space combat, but there was also like a bit of storyline behind it. Like in game, you could actually like talk to like the enemy and taunt them a bit, and you had like wingmen and stuff like that. It was quite advanced, really, for what it was doing back in the 90s. And this game was Wing Commander. Now, I think it was out on the PS1 as well. I'm pretty sure it had Malcolm McDowell. He was in there. He was in the game. This one, of course, didn't have the same graphics as that, you know, with it being disc media rather than CD. But when you have a look at some of the graphics on the back, like, you know, when your spaceship, like when you were getting launched to do your fighting, etc. This was just like, at the time, it really was like a cinematic experience as well. So the fighting was good, the graphics was great. It used to run awesome on the Amiga 1200. It was nice and smooth, and yeah, I think Origin really pulled the all the stops out when they made this game, and it's one that I still enjoy playing to this day. I play this on the Amiga Mini. I haven't played it on real hardware for quite a while, but yeah, this is definitely a game that I would recommend you guys try and at least give it a shot if you can get a copy of Wing Commander. You'll be looking to pay maybe between £10 and £15 for a decent copy of Wing Commander, but I'd definitely say it's worth it. Getting on to a sports game now, and football, soccer if you're in the US, of course. Obviously we used to play a lot of sensible World of Soccer back in the day, but I was quite partial to the side-on view, and I think we looked at Total Football in the first or the second episode, which was more of like a FIFA 95 kind of clone. This is more of a traditional kind of side-on view that you got in the Amiga, and it was this game. It was European Champions. Now I think this is being like re-released with a few different covers and under a few different names, but with the same game engine. And if you just go in closely there, in fact I'll try and put in some in-game graphics at the top so you can see on all these games, but yeah, as you can see from that view, it was just like, at the time it really did look pretty realistic. It did. And yeah, this is, I spent a lot of time playing this game. I'm pretty sure there was a couple of different views, a couple of editors. I used to love the replays. But yeah, it was always a fun game, and if I remember, it was quite easy to play, which for me was a massive thing back then. If a game was too hard, then I just wasn't going to be putting a lot of time and effort into it. I'd probably end up slipping back into Championship Manager. So we're at the final three, and these are three of my favourite games for the Amiga. And we're going to start off with, well, it was always quite a confusing game for me, this, when I was a kid. I didn't get particularly far. However, I just loved the game mechanics. I loved the feel of it. I've always enjoyed Thrust 2 on the Commodore 64, those type of games, you know, with like gravity, etc. So when I played Exile on the Commodore 64 originally, I played it on I think it was a demo on the front of a Commodore format or something like that. That was the first time I really played this game. So when I moved up to the Amiga, Exile was one of the first games that I went for, because I did love it on the Commodore 64. Obviously it's a little bit better looking, the graphics are a little bit better, but importantly the game mechanics are the same. If you're one of the few people to have never heard of Exile or to have not played Exile, you're kind of just like an astronaut on a distant planet, and well, you've got like, it's like a puzzle game, side on view. You pick up like grenades, different parts, different, like, you sort of like, you know, like Dizzy. You've got to have different parts to get through different parts of the game, etc. It says it's an adventure game completely devoid of that tedious click and interactive stuff, which it really is. Like, I found this amazingly difficult, as I say, back then. Nowadays, I don't find it that much easier, but I'm battling through. And again, this is another game that I was dying to play on the Amiga Mini, because I got that before I owned this. I luckily picked this up within the last couple of weeks, and I am very, very happy to own a copy of Exile. I'll probably never own it on the Commodore 64, because that seems to be an incredibly rare, hard game to get hold of these days. well, for me anyway, within my price range. So to pick it up on the Amiga, yeah, makes me really happy. It's really happy to add that one to the collection. As I say, there's going to be a lot of game time with that. So down to the last two. Now, I was on a stream with Nerdy Geezer on the Micromaniacs a couple of days ago, and I did show this. This is one of the things I did show because for me, Cinemaware used to make some of the best Amiga games. The Rocketeer, Wings, it came from the desert. I always enjoy these kind of games where they've got like a storyline in between the action sequences. And when I saw Wings come up for sale for a ridiculous price on eBay, and it was well, you know when you hear the saying, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. Well, I was just had my fingers crossed until this arrived on my doorstep, and it did the other day. And for me, this is, for a flight simulator, this is probably the best one. My favourite, like air combat, would be Gunship 2000. There is also another flight sim that I used to absolutely love, but for pure dogfights and, you know, battling against the enemy, this is an incredibly fun game. There's also like a couple of different views. There's also like an isometric part of the game as well, where you're doing like bombing runs and things like that, which make this just, there's just a bit of everything in there. Definitely give this a go, guys, if you've not played Wings on the Amiga. It's amazing how many people haven't, and this is, it's a must-play game. It's a must-play game. Definitely give this a go. I thoroughly enjoy it. Yeah, one of the best. So from one of the best flying air combat games to my favourite racing game on the Amiga, I've been trying to get hold of a decent copy of this game for what feels like forever. We're talking years here. I've tried Facebook, I've tried eBay. You know, I always miss out. I've even put like wanted ads to try and snatch a copy. And eventually, I kind of knew eventually we'll get there. The time will come where I'd be able to add Stunt Car Racer on the Commodore Amiga to the collection. This is a game I first played on the Atari ST. And a lot of people say I played the Atari ST before I ever played an Amiga, so a lot of games I did play on the ST first. Now I can't remember what it plays like on the ST, but a lot of people, including OSG, who really knows his stuff, he's done like a comparison video, you know, for the two, and I think even he says that this runs a little bit smoother on the Atari ST. For me, however, you can never beat the Amiga version. It's just got the nostalgia, the memories, and the amount of time I've put into this game. I've never even made it to the top division yet, but I will one day. But it's just the tracks that you play on this, you know. You've got like the stepping stones, the helter skelter. I mean, you're talking hundreds of meters in the air. There's no barriers. It's hardcore racing at its best. You're one-on-one. And you've got a league table, and graphically it's just a lovely game. Simple graphics, but you can genuinely feel the speed, and even the sound effects are just, well, I just love this game. It's just my favourite racing game on the Amiga. I don't believe that there's anybody watching this video, and well, we're 18 minutes in or something like that, but I mean, is there anyone out there who hasn't played this? Obviously, I first played it on the Commodore 64 first. Loved it on the Commodore 64, but the Amiga is where like it really steps into its own. It's just, yeah, it's just the best racing game. If you haven't played this, and I don't think there's anyone who hasn't, but if you haven't, definitely play Stunt Car Racer. So that's it for this episode, guys. I've got the last 10 to go. And there really is, there's a couple of very special games in there. On my channel, I like to concentrate on the 8-bit micros and the Commodore Amiga and a couple of consoles. If that's your sort of thing, then maybe consider subscribing to my channel for future content that you might enjoy. But that's it for me, guys. I'm working very heavily on my next video. This is quite a big one, and it's going to be on for quite a while, so it's taken a lot longer than anything I've ever made before. I've had a lot of help from some very good friends, and they'll be getting thanked in the next video when it does come out. So please wait for that one, because I think it's definitely going to be worth waiting for. So until next time, goodbye.